At my cousin's engagement party, I raised my glass and said, "Glad to be part of this." My aunt looked at me and said, "You weren't, we added you at the last minute." Then my sister leaned over and whispered, "Try not to ruin it like you always do." I didn't say anything, I just smiled, picked up the $5,000 gift I had brought, and walked away. Once I was outside, I pulled out my phone and canceled the credit card I had used to pay for the venue, something I had only done as a favor. 20 minutes later, the lights went out, the music stopped, and my phone blew up with over 130 missed calls. My aunt had said I wasn't really part of the event, like it was no big deal. She clinked glasses with her husband and looked right past me, as if I wasn't even there. Then my sister took her shot, quiet, but sharp, just loud enough for me to hear. It stung, but I stayed quiet. The party looked perfect, fancy dresses, expensive food, pretty decorations. Everyone acted like one big happy family, but I knew better. I wasn't really one of them, I was just useful when they needed money. Danielle, the bride-to-be, stood in the middle of it all, looking beautiful in a dress that probably cost more than my rent. Her fiancé had his arm around her, smiling for photos. They looked like a picture-perfect couple. Danielle was always polite, but never truly kind. She once borrowed money from me and never brought it up again. Still, I showed up to support her. I even gave a toast. But when I heard their words, I realized something. They didn't see me. Not really, they never did. So I left, quietly, no drama. I took my gift back and left the party without a word. Then I canceled the venue payment. That's when the panic started. First my mom called, then Danielle's fiancé, then the venue coordinator, even my cousin Mark, who only ever contacts me when he needs money. At first, their messages were confused, then they got angry. They called me unstable, a troublemaker. But they forgot who had paid for the venue, they forgot all the times I helped them, they forgot I had proof. I saved everything, bank transfers, receipts, messages. $1,500 for Emma's dental bill. $3,200 to help Dad. $500 a month to my aunt. Even the ring on Danielle's finger, she bought it with my loan. No one ever paid me back, no one ever said thank you, but they always expected me to be there, to cover the cost. Not to be in the pictures, not to be mentioned in the speeches, just to pay. And I let it happen, over and over. I kept quiet, I stayed kind, I helped behind the scenes. Even Emma, my sister, used my credit card without asking. A $9,000 spa trip. She cried when I found out, said she was depressed, so I let it go. She's the one who told me not to ruin things tonight. But I never ruined anything, I just paid for it. The final straw came the next day. Someone posted a photo from the party on Facebook, everyone smiling. The caption from Aunt Sandra, "Thank you to everyone who helped make last night possible. True family shows up." No tag for me, no mention. In the comments, Emma, "Good thing we handled everything ourselves, can't rely on chaos." Mark, "F that guy, just feeds off drama." Sandra, "Last-minute guests always ruin the vibe." They were talking about me, no question. But they didn't know I had been watching, saving, collecting. And they definitely weren't ready for what would happen next. What did I find next? A draft email, never sent, probably forgotten. The subject line said, "Backup plan if he freaks out." Inside was a full breakdown of the engagement party costs. Venue, $17,000, paid by me. The cake, flowers, music, all charged to my card. At the bottom, in my sister Emma's words, "If he acts weird or tries to back out, we'll say he insisted on paying. We can make it sound like a surprise, no one will blame us." The date? 3 weeks before the party. This was their backup plan, just in case I stood up for myself. Well, I did. And now, I had proof. But I didn't post it, not yet. I wanted them to feel safe, for a little while longer. Then I found something else. An old WhatsApp backup on a phone Emma used to borrow from me, a voice recording labeled, "He's losing it." I played it. It was my voice, but twisted, edited, chopped up from old messages and recordings to make me sound angry and unstable, saying things I never actually said. I almost dropped the phone. They were building a fake story about me, a version of me they could use if things went bad. A version that made me the villain, so they could take my money, ruin my name, and still look innocent. This wasn't just them being careless. They planned it. That night, I sent a short email. No subject, one sentence. "You might want to talk to your daughter before the video goes public. I centimetros cúbicos de aún Sandra, Uncle Theo, and Danielle." Then I waited. 19 missed calls in 20 minutes. I didn't answer. I was already editing the video. They rescheduled the engagement brunch for the next weekend, same place, New payment method, whole new vibe. No one invited me. So I invited myself. I didn't sneak in, I still had admin access. I RSVP'd like any guest. I walked in 15 minutes before the toast, wearing a black blazer, calm and quiet, a flash drive in my pocket, one goal. The room noticed me right away. Emma dropped her drink. Aunt Sandra stared like she wished she could erase me with her eyes. Danielle looked nervous. Darren just looked confused. Perfect. The event coordinator came over and asked if I was dropping something off. I smiled and said, "No, I'm here to add something to the playlist." She hesitated, but nodded. 10 minutes later, as Danielle stood up to give her toast, the big screen behind her turned on. I spoke up, "Can we play a quick video from the family?" Everyone turned to look. First, no sound, just screenshots. Venmo. Zelle. My bank app. Transfers with notes like, Emma's dentist. Danielle's venue deposit. Save us. The room went quiet, people stopped eating. Then came the audio. Emma's voice, "If he freaks out, we'll say he insisted. He's good at looking desperate. Sandra, he owes us. He wouldn't have that job without the family. Danielle, he'll probably bring some sad little gift and think it matters." Dead silence. Then the final clip, me quietly picking up the gift I had brought and walking out of their party. The screen went black. Then these words appeared. "This is what it looks like when you use someone, until he finally speaks up." I turned to face them. Emma's face was red, not from shame, from anger. Her hand shook like she was about to throw something. "You're completely out of line," she snapped. "This was supposed to be my day." I looked at her calmly and said, "Oh, it still is, you're just not the main character anymore." Danielle stood frozen, her mouth slightly open like she wanted to say something, but had no idea what to say. Then her fiancé, Darren, stepped forward. "Wait, this isn't true, is it?" I pulled the flash drive from my pocket. "Ask Emma about the email she wrote, the one called, just in case he freaks out." Emma lunged at me, trying to grab the flash drive. Too late, I handed it to Darren. "Check it yourself, I'm not here to argue, I just came to finish this." That's when my mom showed up, right on cue. Her hair was perfect, but her voice was shaky. "Please," she said, "let's talk outside." I looked at her, her mascara was already smudged, even though she hadn't cried yet. "For the first time ever," I said. "I don't owe you anything, not money, not silence." Then my dad appeared. He wasn't supposed to be there. He always said engagement parties were a waste of time, but there he was, like he somehow knew I'd finally stopped pretending everything was fine. "You're a disgrace to this family," he said through clenched teeth. "You embarrassed us all." I turned to face him. "No, you embarrassed me for years." All I did was hit play. The whole room went quiet. Some people stood up and left, others just stared. A few had their phones out. I knew at least one person was filming. Good, let them see what happens when the quiet one finally speaks. Danielle tried to calm things down. She stood and raised her hands. "Okay, maybe there were some misunderstandings, but this isn't the time." I held up a small box. "This yours?" I asked. "The $5,000 engagement ring? Custom made. I bought it from a guy I tutored in college. Still have the receipt." Danielle nodded slowly. I smiled, closed the box, and put it in my jacket. "You'll get it back when I get back everything I gave this family, which means, never, so enjoy the symbolism." Emma screamed, "You think you're the victim? You're just a bitter freeloader who thinks he's better than everyone." That's when another voice spoke, calm and deep. "Funny," it said, "he's the only one who ever paid for anything." Everyone turned. At the door stood Carter, Emma's ex. Yes, I had called him. Turns out I wasn't the only one Emma had used. He had receipts too. He stepped forward and handed me an envelope, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. He said, "These are screenshots. Emma edited texts and voice recordings to make you look abusive. She did it to me too. I filed a report last year, never sent it, but I'm sending it now." Emma stepped back like someone had hit her. "You're ruining everything," she shouted. I looked at her calmly. "No, you did, I'm just clearing the air." Then I walked out, no drama, no yelling, just me and Carter, and the silence of people realizing a lie had just crumbled in front of them. That was the last time I ever stood in the same room as those people. From what I heard later, that day changed everything for Danielle's perfect family. Silence after a storm doesn't mean peace, it just means people are checking to see if they survived it. 2 days after the party blew up, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing, over 130 missed calls. Facebook was chaos. Distant cousins suddenly acted like moral experts. Everyone had an opinion, everyone had a theory. I said nothing, on purpose. Because I was busy. That Monday, I started a new business, Last Minute Guest, LLC, named after the insult my aunt used to exclude me. If I wasn't allowed in their story, I'd create my own, and invite the world. Within a week, I had a website, a YouTube channel, and my first viral video. What happens when the family ATM shuts down? Then came the second video. How to be uninvited and still own the room. My YouTube channel hit 75,000 subscribers in 10 days. Comments flooded in. You told my story. This happened to me too. I didn't know I needed to hear this. I wasn't ranting. I was rebuilding. Then I launched merch, hoodies, mugs, phone cases. Bestseller? A black hoodie with the words, "Glad to be part of this," and in small red letters near the bottom, until I read the receipts. It sold out in 2 days. I thought that was the best part. It wasn't. The real surprise came from Darren, Danielle's now ex-fiancé. He messaged me late one night. Can we talk? Just us. I thought he was going to threaten me, or warn me. Instead, he showed up in person, no ring, tired eyes. I checked everything you said, he said. You were right. I stayed silent. I called off the wedding, he added, but there's something else you need to see. He pulled out his phone, opened a folder, and hit play. It was a video. Granny had secretly recorded Emma and Aunt Sandra talking on the couch, wine in hand. Emma, he won't back out. We'll say it's for Mom. If he flips out, we'll say he's unstable. Sandra, we still have that clip from college, right? Where he said he wants to disappear. We'll splice it, make it sound like he's suicidal. Boom, no one will believe him. I froze. Darren looked down. She left her laptop open, he said. The video was in a shared folder, she didn't even hide it. He reached into his bag and handed me a small box. Inside, the engagement ring I bought. She tried to keep it, he said it was already hers, but this belongs with someone honest, and that's not her. I didn't say thank you, I just nodded. And I knew what I had to do next. The next day, I met with a real lawyer, not a friend, not a favor, a serious litigator. I showed him everything. The fake texts. The edited recordings. The money trail. The backup plan email. The plot to ruin me. He looked at it all and said, "We have a case, defamation, emotional harm, financial abuse." I nodded. "But before we go to court," I said, "we go public." So I uploaded a 3-part documentary on my channel, calm, detailed, precise. Part 1, the money. Part 2, the betrayal. Part 3, the plot to destroy my reputation. Episode 3 hit 1.2 million views. A week later, I signed a book deal. Last Minute Guest, How I Burned a Family Myth and Built Myself from Ash. Then came one more twist. A letter. Handwritten. From my mother. No return address. No subject line. I knew about the video, about the plan, about how they tried to control everything. I told myself it wasn't my fault if I didn't join in. But staying quiet is joining in. I was scared that if you left, they'd leave me too. But you were the only one who always showed up, even when no one noticed. And now I feel ashamed. I didn't respond, I didn't forgive her. But I changed the ending of my last video, just one line on a black screen. My mother knew, staying silent is still a choice. Now, I sit in my new office, not for tech work, not for filming videos, a real, physical office. I opened a co-working space and a mentorship program for people who've cut ties with toxic families. The name above the door went up last. Underneath it, in small letters. But never again. 3 months passed. That's how long it took for them to realize I wasn't coming back. No apologies, no calls, no family meeting. They didn't want healing, they were just waiting for me to give in. I didn't. Instead, I grew my brand. Last Minute Guest became more than a YouTube channel, it became a platform. I launched a podcast called Added Last. First episode, When Loyalty Becomes Servitude. It made Apple's top 10 in 2 days. Then I opened the studio, a clean, glass front space in Denver with a sign that said, "Here, we don't apologize for skipping Thanksgiving." But the messages kept coming. Danielle sent a PDF called Her Side of the Story. Aunt Sandra sent a blurry selfie of her crying, captioned, "Families shouldn't go viral, they should heal." Even Emma, yes, Emma, made a secret TikTok account to tell the truth. She played the victim so hard one video actually trended. Until someone in the comments wrote, "Aren't you the girl who faked DMs to ruin your cousin's life?" It got 14,000 likes. She deleted her account the next day. But the real shock came on a Wednesday. I was setting up a guest workshop when my assistant walked in, pale. Your dad's outside. I blinked. What? He wasn't alone. I stepped out and saw him, suit on, standing with my mom and another man in a dress shirt, a lawyer maybe, or a PR guy. He walked right up to me like he still ran the show. You've made your point, he said. Now take it down. Take what down? The videos, the posts, the whole brand. Why? He didn't hesitate. Because we're talking to a publisher, we're writing a book, a family memoir, you're in it. I smiled, now I knew why he really came. Let me guess, I said, Chapter 1, The Ungrateful Son? You think this is funny? He snapped. You destroyed a legacy. No, I replied. I just showed people what that legacy really was. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. You always needed us more than we needed you, don't forget that. I laughed, for real. I don't need to forget, I documented it, with timestamps. He turned to my mom, she couldn't even look at me. Then I did something he didn't expect. I pulled a shiny silver key from my pocket and held it up. Remember that mountain house you used to take us to? He squinted. What about it? I bought the land behind it, 2 acres, just had a new fence built. So, I said. The only road to your house now goes through mine. He stared at me. That's illegal. No, it's a private easement, totally legal, and I just added a gate. His jaw tightened. With a code. Yep, you don't have it. They froze. My mom stepped forward, her voice shaking. Is this really what you want, to destroy your family? I looked at her one last time. No, I just want to stop pretending the fire was ever warmth. Then I turned around and walked back inside. The next day, I made one last post. Not a video, not a podcast. A full-page ad in the Sunday newspaper. Black letters, white background. To the people who taught me that silence was safer than truth, thank you. You made me strong, you made me unstoppable. You erased me from your story. So I wrote my own, and made it a bestseller. Formerly the last-minute guest. Now the one who turned off the lights, and locked the door. Last week, I changed my phone number, didn't tell anyone. Then I took a Sharpie, wrote something on the back of my old business card, and taped it to the break room wall. In case of emergency, don't call me. I'm not family anymore. And the final thing? I donated $10,000 to a scholarship fund for kids estranged from their families. Not in my real name. But in the name I built for myself. Last-minute guest. Because sometimes, the person they almost didn't invite ends up winning the whole thing.